I hated this game yesterday, and I hate it again.
Which means it's a great game.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Was there anything else? Oh, just 1.4. 1.4.
So Jess wins at 72, Chris at 71, me at 67, and Andrew, thank you for playing. Wow, that was awesome. J Train Rex, yeah.
J Train Rex, that's awesome.
That was I did not see that coming at the end.
I did.
Chris called it. He did. 1 point too. You even had the point spread.
We called it pregame.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and goes to show investments. Don't sleep on investments.
Yeah,
so, okay.
maybe not.
So that side of the table. What'd you guys
I got
think of
nervous
the game?
towards the end, speaking of investments. I was like, so when we played this first time, I kind of went a lot in investments, and I didn't have as good of a time playing, right? Because the funness of the game, I think, is crashing the trains into each other, trying to guide them through the right stations, getting your, deciding to merge one into another, making people pay shares for not moving the trains, right? And this is just like, majority points scoring, right? It's not as fun.
Right, yeah.
And I had a lot more fun this time moving the trains around and trying to amass my stock portfolio than playing around with the shares. So
I think you did a really good job.
You really did.
I did better than second place, I thought, but But couldn't be 3 in a row for me. Yeah, thanks, Paul. You had my back in Age of Steam, I remember. It was a lot more fun. Actually, when we played it yesterday, I was really sour on it. I didn't have a great time playing it. But then I think it took until the full game to see how things scored at the end and got together the weird different scorings. There's all these different scorings in the game, different criteria for them. And I think once you see how those work, it becomes a different game that you can then start to get in people's way and understand what move's a good move instead of vetoing things for the heck of it, right? It was a lot more fun. I was preparing mentally to come up with reasons why I didn't like it, but I had a great time.
I'm glad to hear
I just think this made the game, right? I think this won the game for Jess, but at the same time, it feels like I'd like the game even without it. I think because this was the fun part, the map and the stations and whatever.
Okay. But I like that it's layered that way, right? You have the different options.
How about you, Andrew?
I like it. I mean, I did much better yesterday, but that's the interesting thing, right? Like there was so much less competition the first time we played this for the stations, and way more. Like this was filled up completely,
right.
And I think that was the wrong way to do it because like the stations matter so much more. So like this was a much more competitive, like down the wire, like who's going to have the most stations, who's going to have the most shares, like knife fight sort of thing, which is exactly what I want out of a game like this. So yeah, I had a good time.
And I think the game shines really well at 4 players. I can't speak to the other player counts, but at 4 players, this is, well, you guys saw it. I think that was a pretty great time. So what'd you think?
I really liked it. So this was really fun. I did not think it was going to swing that hard at the end. I really didn't.
I think it caught you by surprise.
Me as well. Yes,
Yeah.
That was not what I expected. That was great. You called it. I did not believe
We've both
it.
been there. We know how it is.
Yeah. This is true. This is true. No, so I actually liked the investments. I know in the beginning you were like, no, it's not. They're kind of weak, but I liked getting in there early so I could get a feel for where you guys were going to go and kind of invest.
And it dissuades people from investing if you get an early lead, like, sure, I'll steal a point here or there, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that I think that played obviously a key part in the game.
But I was really worried about my stations because a couple of them, they just went around and I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. But no, it worked out. So very interesting.
Yeah, and the vetoing, it's not... the key to vetoing, obviously the direction of the track makes a difference, but bleeding shares.
Right.
Because that's where you guys excelled, is I felt like all I was doing was paying shares out the wazoo to try and defend things. And it made it difficult for me, but not to a point to where, I was still competitive. I lost by 5 points, even though I was paying out all these shares because I had those stations out there. Having 2 of my stations going around, that was difficult. But by paying shares earlier, I didn't have the shares as currency to be able to then invest or take part in the bids to be able to defend the direction. So yeah,
well, that was like that last move. I didn't want to bid anything because I wanted those 2 shares to bring me to second.
That's why the only hope I have was to get you to bump one back, right?
No, I wasn't going to do it. I knew, and I was like, I'm not going to.
Anyone but Jess was in second, or if it was a tie for second here, then I would have won. Right?
Yeah, you would have. And so that 5 points was short-sighted.
I didn't calculate it out, but I was like, it's probably close enough for a point.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So, yeah, this is interesting. I definitely, I think it's the type of game that the more you play it, probably the more you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's not the best, but it definitely improved from yesterday to today.
Yeah.
So
I think I would be interested in trying it at 3 because we were talking yesterday. Because you had a much worse time yesterday. And like less fun, and we were talking about like, oh, maybe 3 would feel less chaotic and less like you have more control over what you're doing because there aren't 3 other people like changing the entire board state before it gets to your turn. So I would be interested in trying that.
Oh, same here.
I still enjoyed this at 4.
I was stressing every time it would. I'm like, okay, there's something I want to do. Don't. To where in a 3-player, you're only just don't, right? So it's one less person that can mess with that. So yeah, overall, I think I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected today. So
me too.
And the ending,
despite a loss by a point.
So good.
That's the best way to win.
You guys are nothing but consistent when it comes to that. So there's
one
that.
One of these days I'll win by a point.
Yeah.
I think I did once.
You did.
Yeah.
There was one game. You were so excited.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. That is Stephenson's Rocket. Again, big thanks to James, member of the Small Council and the Herd, for sending us the copy so we could show this off, because he was like, do you want this? I hated this game. Here, if you want to have it on the show. And I'm glad he did, because I think it made for a good showing for you guys. You obviously, y'all will be the ones to judge that. That said, don't forget tonight we have the big super secret stream tonight at 7 o'clock. Full teach and playthrough of. And so hopefully you guys join it. It's going to be pretty big news. I think people are going to be really, really excited about the news that's getting dropped on that. So hopefully we see you guys in 5 hours and 2 minutes.
Turn out for it.
There you go. So if you guys liked it, like and subscribe. Don't forget, hit up pledgehc.com to support the show. So other than that, I got to go get ready for the stream. Plus we need to go hit a diner for brunch. So we're going to go do that. So I'm Edward.
I'm Jess.
Chris.
Andrew.
All right. Take care, y'all. We'll see y'all tonight.